Well, you made it to Wednesday, halfway through. So sometimes when you find yourself in a difficult situation, almost every time actually that you find yourself in a difficult situation, the temptation is to get yourself away from the difficulty. But the truth is, when it comes to our work, that usually the only way out is through, because that's how we're going to gain experience, and that's how we're going to gain the abilities, and that's how we're going to gain the perspective and the wisdom to go ahead and elevate what we can do, and so elevate the positions that we're able to work at. So today on the Daily Dance, we're going to take a look at how we press through.
Welcome to the Daily Dance with your host, Brad Richardson.
All right. Well, welcome back to the Daily Dance. Welcome to a Wednesday, and I hope your week has been going well. Today, we are going to be looking at something that is another basic building block of being able to move ahead in life and in business and in everything. And that is pressing through. Pressing through. It is the exercise for the muscles of our mind and of our character and of our will. You had skills, you had depth, you had so much by learning to press through, but having the right mindset to be able to do that is the trick, because it's easy to get bogged down and discouraged. It's easy to forget some of the basics of what we need to do when the going gets tough. And so we're going to look at that today. But this is the Daily Dance. The rule here is that we do a little dance every day. And in doing our little dance, we get ourselves pointed in the right direction, get our attitude elevated, and get ready to attack the day. Or if we're starting much lower, maybe we're not at attack, but it gets us back in motion and helps set the trajectory for the day. So you're going to feel a little bit silly, probably. That's good. We don't want to take ourselves too seriously. If you can get others to dance along with you, bonus points. But right now, we are going to do our daily dance. All right, everybody danced up? Everybody ready? Cool, let's dive in. So today we're looking at how the only way out is through. And the issue here is that if we don't learn this, and believe me, I understand this is a generality, this is a general rule, okay? I'm not talking about exceptions. But in general, the only way out is through. And if we don't learn that, then we keep having to learn the same lessons over and over until we get it. That's kind of how life tends to work. So we want to figure out how to get ourselves in a mindset that is going to allow us to press through, because it's not enough just to say, oh, I'm going to gut it out. Some of you are the type of people that can do that, and you like that, and you want to go all gung-ho, and you're working out at 4 a.m. and doing all the hard stuff, and good for you. But these are for the people, or for the times when it's more difficult than that. When it's more difficult and we need to establish a new pattern or a new habit to allow us to continue to break through, to press through. Part of when I was getting ready for this, I was thinking of, I found as I went looking for some information on all this, people, how many people happy and content uh, in their jobs, because you see and you hear a lot of the disgruntled voices, but obviously those that are happy you really don't hear. Those that are content. Overall, what I found in the U.S. is that about half of people are reasonably content with their jobs. The other half less so. And then you can see from what I threw up on the screen that there's also another way that you read that, though, is engagement. Not just are you content to go along, but are you engaged is a different metric. And these global numbers show that the vast majority are not engaged in their work. And why do we care about that? Why does that matter? Well, to me, I think that may be a better indicator of what people are feeling in their work. Because I'm going to say, if you're not engaged in your work, if you don't feel engaged, then you're going to end up in the category of not content and looking for something else. And I know that I went through, and earlier in your career is different than later, because I went through, like most of us, the jobs where I had to get through it. But I have to say, my attitude many times was counterproductive and not what it could have been. And I have missed opportunities galore because I wasn't able to have a right mindset. So, keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and look then at our first thought then in all this, and that's going to be to reframe. I want us to reframe uh, the job that you're at. Because as I thought about this, what I've come to realize is that any job serve a purpose. And if I can look at that job and see the purpose that it fulfills for me in the story of my life, in the story of my career, this chapter, what purpose is it fulfilling? And it's fulfilling some purpose. If I can keep that in mind and reframe it that way, then I'm not going to end up in a situation where I hate going to work or I hate having to do this, because I'm going to be going at it from a mindset of one of several things. What am I going to learn today? This is buying me time and income to do other training on the side while I get there. This is helping me build more relationships and make more contacts, which you should always be doing wherever you're working. Wherever you're working, you're always networking, whether you realize it or not. The way you treat people, the relationships that you build, that your network. So that's very, very important. And these are all ways, and there's loads more, but you have to look at whatever job you're working at right now. It's fulfilling a purpose in your life. You are learning lessons, even if that lesson is, okay, I know this is not what I want to do for a career, right? But it's teaching you that. And there are other skills in almost any job you can still learn, and things you can still work on while you're there. Whether in a lot of those things we talk about on the Daily Dance, and it's different interpersonal skills with your teammates. It can be management skills if you have anyone to manage. It can be fellowship skills and just learning how to be a good follower and how to help your boss, and invest in helping your boss do the best that they can and look the best that they can, and learning, skilling up on those things so you can help them do their job better. These are all things you can work on wherever you are. Suddenly you're able to reframe that job of yours. It was just a job, and now it's a key part of your path to whatever comes next. It's connecting the dots for you. It's one of the dots in the path of where you're going. And now it's not just something that you want to get through and get past. Now it's something that you can invest yourself in at the time. So try to reframe the job that you're at. If you're having a struggle right now, maybe you just feel stagnant, maybe you despise where you're at and you're doing it because you need to pay the bills, and this is what you're doing. Try to reframe that job this way. And it does, other than just the reframing, it also allows you to take back some agency Okay, it allows you to take back some agency and some control, some feeling of control, because now it's like, oh, I'm not just stuck here. No, I am coming into work with some intentionality because I'm going to get the most out of this that I can. If it's a job you don't like, then go in with a vengeance, with the mentality that you're going to get the most out of it that you can. You're going to get the best. You're going to learn as much as you can, and you're going to get the absolute most out of that job that you can. And you might be surprised how things turn around for you. You try that for a week and see how you feel. Suddenly, do that for a month, could change your life. Simple changes. Okay, so you've got to do the reframe. One thing I would point to, I tried to put the link in the post. I think it's there for a book by Scott Adams, where he talks about he talks about, in the book that I linked. He talks about stacking, talent stacking, which we're going to kind of get into next. But he also talks about reframing your brain. And I've full disclosure, I haven't read his books, and I really need to, but I've benefited loads from his different posts throughout the years, and I've followed him on different platforms. So I've read enough of what he says and his thought behind it to recommend it, and I do recommend it. But toward that end, talent stacking, let's talk about retooling. Retooling. So we've reframed. We're reframing where we're at, the job that we're at, and the way that we look at it and perceive it, and where it fits in our life. And now we're going to retool. While we're reframing that, make sure you're taking a half hour a day, at least on the weekdays, half hour a day after you get home, and skill up. And if the job you're at is not for you, and it is just a stop in your path along the way, then be looking for another job. Get your resume honed up and get it looking good, and do everything that you can to be ready for the next step. That goes hand in hand with the reframe. It doesn't go against it. You're reframing the way you look at the job that you're at as a stepping stone to something else, a place where you can learn some things and practice some things, right? You're practicing getting better. Then at the same time, then take time after work and make sure that you're getting some more training, that you're adding some skills, and that you're networking, and you're getting yourself out there and applying for different positions as you see ones that fit, ones that you would really like, where you'd really like to work. And if you find those jobs and you find the job descriptions and you say, no, this is something I really want to go after, then make a list from those job descriptions and make sure that you're doing everything you can to meet all the criteria for people who are looking for that kind of employee, for that kind of person. I am a big believer also in this whole scenario of finding businesses you want to work for, not just jobs. To me, that can be more important. Find a business that you can care about. Find a business with leadership team that you believe in. Find a place where you can look at it and you see what their mission is. You see what they make. You see what, and it's something that you can look at and you go, no, I see myself there. I identify with what they do. That's going to make everything 1,000 times easier if it's that type of place that you're working at. And so then when you're trying to get that job, it gives you some more incentive to be patient, continue to try. If it took you a couple years of building relationships, paying attention, just paying attention to their job board to see what jobs are coming up, following them on social media, and everything that you need to do to get as familiar with the company as you can. If you did that for a couple of years, but then you ended up landing that position, that's the intersection of your interests and your skills, and everything just comes together there. Would that be worth a couple of years investment? Absolutely. You're going to excel at that place and at that position, and more likely than not, you're going to have a higher chance of success doing it that way than anything else. And I've gotten several jobs that the best jobs I've had have been the ones where I've looked and I've said, that is a place that I respect. I'm good with what they make. I believe in what they do. And then I made a concerted effort And even better if it's local and you can show up in person and make yourself known and meet people, but do whatever you have to do then to get into that organization. And those were the best choices that I made. Those were the best places that I ever landed. So highly recommend that. So reframe. First, you're going to reframe, then you're going to retool and get more skills to apply for whatever the next phase in your journey is going to be. And then number 3, you're going to recharge. So we got reframe, retool, and recharge. So while you're doing all of this, you're going to recharge. And what do you need to recharge? Energy level, enthusiasm. Hopefully, by reframing um, the current job that you have, by taking some proactive steps and getting retooled and retrained and ready for the next step, that's going to add energy and enthusiasm and all those other things back to you. You need to have a bit of a pep in your step when you're trying to step up the ladder, when you're trying to get to that next rung on the career ladder and to land the job you want. So now it's time to recharge. And that recharging, as I talk about often, you need to, some of that is rest, some of that is recreation, some of that is in the midst of everything else. Don't just think I'm advocating for you to grind and grind. Take a breath every week, find time every day to go for a walk, clear your head, clear your mind. And while you ruminate on how you can reframe the way that you look at your job, while you ruminate on what tools do I need to add so that I can be more valuable and have a better chance of getting the type of job that I want. And with all of these things, I want to point out these are small steps that you do every day. Don't try to hit the home run. These are just we're just hitting for average here. We're just hitting singles, just trying to get on base every day. Okay, you just want to. That's why with retooling, that's why I'm saying only a half hour a day. Now, if you can do more, that's great, but make everything attainable. Make everything doable, that you can do regularly every day, that it's not a stretch for you to do every day because you want to develop the habit. You want to develop the pattern. If you do that, it's going to be much more powerful than just trying to do a whole bunch all at once and then getting burnt out and then getting discouraged and you're going to crash and burn. Okay. And that's precisely what we don't want. So make sure that everything is, you're taking the time to recharge, to get your enthusiasm going again, that you're leaving enough margin in each day in your process so that you can retool, reload, get enough sleep at night, for crying out loud. All the basics, please. Take care of yourself, recharge. If you're coming out of some difficult seasons or a difficult job, that may take longer than you realize. I had someone warn me about that coming out of some situations. Didn't realize how true it was until I'd gone through some very intense work situations and then exiting those, how long it's taken to get back to myself in some ways, but to really start to get energy back and start to get perspective back and start to get all the things back that you need to be able to go on and tackle new challenges. It may take longer than you think if you've been through something like that, but whatever you've got to do, recharge, make sure you've got the energy, make sure you're eating healthy, all the basic stuff. Okay. Make sure you've got the basics working for you so that you're ready to tackle some new challenges. And you'll be so glad you did. And you'll feel like a new person. You go through these steps. If you can reframe in your mind how you perceive and how you think about your current job, if you can retool and add new skills, and learning just activates so much in our brain, and we feel so much more encouraged in and of ourselves because we see what we're doing. We know we have that feeling of accomplishment, which is great. And then we're recharging. We're being smart. We're taking care of ourselves. We've got good energy, right? We're getting good rest. And so now you've got a simple plan that's repeatable, that's things you can do every day, and then you can attack the new challenges. And if you're doing this, the back to my original point is that even if you end up at a job much longer than you wanted to be, but the whole time you're taking this attitude with it, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be so much better. You might be surprised. You might even find yourself almost enjoying it, even if it's a hard job for you, because it'll turn into more of a challenge maybe in your mind, something that you want to attack and overcome. You'll feel more capable to do that, and you're getting everything you can from that situation now. There are valuable things because of the reframe. You're seeing the valuable things and lessons to be learned while you're there. And now you're not going to resent that job. Now you see, oh, regardless of what it is, now I'm taking value from it. I'm getting value from it, even beyond just a paycheck. And it can change your perspective. It can change your world. It can. And it's just wonderful when you see it start to unfold. So reframe, retool, recharge, and then what's our homework? What's our homework today? It is to define your next step. Then think about, because we're doing all this. This is all these things can apply even if you want to stay where you are as well. Doing these steps, even if you're already in a good place, all these steps can help you go even further on, by the way. But dealing with the scenario of someone who, you're not going to stay, or you don't want to stay where you're at, you're looking to move up and continue on with your career, you'll need to define your next step. And whether that next step is within your own company, you're looking for a promotion, whether that's a different position within the same company, whether that's with another company, but you need to define your next step. Okay. And it needs to be clear, not vague, but have it very clear. And then you can go back and you can continue to change it and refine it. But have it as clear as you can that this is what I plan to do next. And then I'm doing all of these things to prepare myself to get there, to move into, to step into that next role and that next phase of my life. So that's it. I have included a link in this episode description of a report that has that one screen that I showed at the beginning, the data on job satisfaction, and it's actually a much more thorough report than that. It's a good one to read, of just the current state of work in the world, and give you a good snapshot of where everything is in our current working world. And the little bit that I showed is in there. I've included the link to the Scott Adams book that I would recommend reading, that I've got to recommend for myself as well. But that includes some of the concepts that I was talking about. And he goes in more in depth, though, on the retooling. He talks about talent stacking, and I know others talk about talent stacking too. It's just he's the first person that I heard teaching that some time ago and mentioning that. And the idea being that just being an expert in one area, much lower chance of success than if you are proficient in several complementary, not jobs, but just complementary skills that complement one another. You're going to have much better chance of success. So he touches on that. So those links are in the video description. And so get the book, read that article, continue to craft for yourself your own life. These are all tools that are designed to hopefully allow you to have some control in your life, not just be along for the ride, but to have some control that will allow you to move along in your life in a positive direction that you want it to. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for everyone, that you'd be able to grow and succeed. And that as you do that, the different stresses in your life would dissipate, or at least, again, and the stresses be reframed as well. So that now you're not seeing them all as negatives, but you're just, they're the weights that you're working out with, right? So that's not something to resent. It's just something to work through. When we're learning to press through. When we're learning to press through, that's just something for us to work out against, and it's going to make us stronger. So that makes it a good thing and not a bad thing. All right. Thanks again for joining the Daily Dance. Thanks for spending time. Please hop on every time that you see another episode's posting. Uh, Trying to make those more regular. We'll see how that continues to go. Would love to hear your feedback. You can find us on Rumble. You can find us on YouTube. I do post on X and LinkedIn as well. And as always, love it if you would find us on Locals and subscribe to the show there and become part of our community there as we try to start building that out. So thank you again for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.